guys, welcome back to the channel. So we've got some meat chickens that we are planning to process here in a few weeks. And we've got our homemade chicken plucker here that needs some spiffing up. We thought we'd take you along today and show you what we need to adjust on it and what we've built in case there's anyone out there that's looking for some ideas.
Yeah, definitely. This thing's been awesome over the last few years. We've ran into a few snags, although we've done everything from turkeys to, big old broiler chickens, and, it's really served us well. So to start with, we obviously got a 55-gallon drum and these motor parts and stuff. We try to do things as cheap as possible. So I had an old bandsaw, an old Grizzly bandsaw that we tore apart. We took this motor off of, this switch, some of the pulleys, and we're able to turn that into a working, drive system for the plucker. You got a basic, 110 volt power goes into this, and then power coming out goes to the motor and to this solenoid. This solenoid is a normally closed solenoid, so when it gets power, it opens the valve, and you've got a garden hose coming in here, and it goes through, so when this valve opens after you hit start, it sends water up and in, and tees off into this ring. This ring here has a bunch of holes drilled in it, so water comes flooding in and keeps everything nice and wet, which you definitely want things to stay wet in here while the chicken's being plucked. Dry chicken, these fingers will grab the skin and rip the skin open. So you want everything to be nice and wet, and that does a pretty good job. Inside here, when you take your chicken and throw it in, this plate is rotating with the power of the motor. And like I said, everything will be spraying down in here. You throw your chicken in, and it rolls around and tumbles inside these with centrifugal motion. It throws the feathers out to the edge, and then down underneath, there are 3 fingers pointing down that sweep those feathers, and they go into a bucket that I just have hanging off of this right here. That bucket, I've cut it out and drilled holes in it so the water drains, but the feathers all collect in that bucket, makes it easy to clean things up, which was a pretty cool addition. This little valve right here, I put a little short run of hose so that I can kind of manually spray things out inside here. The feathers do get everywhere, and this ring does a pretty good job of keeping things wet, but you're gonna wanna be able to really put force down and shove some of the feathers down, because it does good, but it needs help sometimes. So,
and it's nice to clean off the birds too. Even after the feathers come off, sometimes there can be little bits of dirt on them. It's nice to clean them off here instead of
over on the butchering table. Yeah, definitely. So underneath here, I've got a pillow block bearing here. There's another pillow block bearing all the way back here. And those hold a 1-inch diameter shaft. You see things got a little bit rusty. I didn't paint them. They're serviceable bearings, so you can grease them, keep them nice and smooth. Looking over here, you've got your motor that drives the belt, and that goes inside here, goes around this pulley. And these pulley diameters really matter quite a bit. So you can see stamped on the motor casing over here, there's 1,720 RPMs. Not to get too deep into the math, the easiest part of this whole thing is figuring out which size pulleys that you need, because you can literally plug it into any AI, say this is how fast my motor spins, what size pulleys do I need to put to have the right ratio to get that feathering plate to spin at around 250 to 300 RPMs. I got the wrong size pulleys on here because I looked for the right size pulleys and I got cheap, because the right size pulleys were kind of expensive, and I wanted to use the one that came with the motor so I didn't have to buy anything there. And I only wanted to buy one, and I found this one for like 20 bucks on Amazon, and I was like, well, that's hard to beat. But it's a 12-inch pulley, and I needed a 16-inch pulley to get the RPMs correct. I cheaped out. The feathering plate spins too fast. It's closer to 400 RPMs. It tears up the birds quite a bit. So getting that ratio right is really important. The other thing that, making sure that your pulley sizes are correct, that motor, it's a powerful motor, but the belt will slip on the motor. So having the pulley size, getting a bigger pulley on the driven end is going to give the motor more torque and make the belt less easy to slip. I've bolted on this attachment. We didn't originally design it with this little tensioner in mind. This was an aftermarket thing that I put on there because my belt was slipping a whole bunch. And so I was like, well, I can just quickly make this dorky thing and hopefully that will help. And it did help, but it's still not great. So today, one of the things that we're going to do is design a jack plate that will allow me to more properly tension the belt. If you do end up using a system like this to tension your belt, that's fine. I would probably do it differently. I just was in the process of cutting up birds and I needed to do it in a hurry. So this is what we came up with on the spot. One thing to keep in mind is, as you can see, like I kind of drew on here the rotation of this pulley. So it rotates this way. That means that this is the tight side of your belt. If you tension a pulley tension a belt like this, you always want to tension the slack side, not the tight side, because it puts a lot of strain if you try to tension the tight side of your belt. So when I say tight side, I mean this thing pulls and it's going to pull this way and you're going to get tension here and slack there. Just keep that in mind. We're going to do a completely different setup that avoids that today, but just tension slack side of the belt. So one of the other things that you can see that we ran into right here is if you look down this board, it's just a chunk of 1/2 inch plywood that I bolted on here, or that's probably 5/8, whatever. It's kind of bowing out right here. And actually on the back side, you can't really tell so much from the camera footage, but basically this whole motor is twisting that board. And so it's pushing down on the back side, pulling out on the top side, and that's just from tensioning the belt. So we can't have that. So I'm gonna have to reinforce that as well today to make sure that when we get our belt properly tensioned, that we're not just destroying the machine with the belt tension. So and then it gets even more force on it when you throw a big bird like a turkey in there, which this thing will. The first birds that we plucked were turkeys, and it worked actually great. So to start with, we will pull out the old tensioner and this. Pull this belt off. Oop! Get your finger. It's past the nylock now.
Oh, look at that big old spider in there.
Hey, you knock it off.
That's a big sucker. There's no spider in it.
What are you talking about? There's probably 4 million spiders in there. All right. Well, let's clean up the dadgum demons. Let's see. We got my shop vac. You filming me?
Yeah.
To show me all terrified. There we go. A better view, you can see how warped this board is, looking down it just from the torque that motor was pulling on it. So get something a little more skookum in there. I wanted to save it for something useful. I guess that's this. Oh yeah, that's a million times better. Look at this.
Yep.
That's
awesome.
Each one is strong enough on its own, but together they'll resist that torsion, that torque that the motor is going to put on it. So
yeah.
What I've come up with here is we've got these aluminum brackets that we made earlier. That's going to resist the torsion. Then I put this plywood back on here, and that kind of just gives me a base that I can sort of work with and adds a little bit of strength to it. Then I've got this metal plate, these two metal plates here and these hinges. So the idea is that I will have these plates welded to the hinges there, and then this metal plate here will actually bolt, the motor will through bolt into this. And there'll be a jack bolt right here that just threads in and pushes against there. So when I want to set tension, I'll jack that bolt up. It'll rotate this up, which will move the pulley up and tension the belt. And keep the metal as a sliver. Don't have your fingernails to get it out. I could see it.
You want to explain to everyone about your safety equipment you've got here going on?
Well, when you're welding, it's super important to wear the proper PPE. As you can see, my safety-toed sandals are doing a great job keeping the metal particulate out of my toes. So since Sarah wants to make fun of me and not help, I'll see if I can't use some pliers to get this out. What I've done is I've got some old gate hinges right here, and they happen to be just the same size as a 1/2-inch bolt. I took some 1/2-inch stainless bolts and just wedged them in there, and so these are nice and tight in there. There's no play in them. And then I just welded some nuts on there, and that became my hinging point, is right across the nut. And so there's absolutely no play in that. Like it'll stay like that. So you can see like it's nice and tight, right? And then here I've just got this stainless wear plate so that my jack bolt here doesn't eat into the dadgum wood there. Yeah, so overall, basically you just turn this thing down. That's gonna lower the motor, bringing the pulleys together so you can take your belt off, and then you lift it up and run this jacking bolt up, and that will lift the motor back up, tensioning the belt. That's a much more stable design. I did get my new pulley in the mail. So that this is a 16-inch cast iron pulley, and kind of like I touched on a bit yesterday, the cast iron is actually important because you want a big, heavy flywheel under there. So when you throw a bird in there, that inertia from the flywheel, it just stays and keeps everything nice and smooth through the motor, and you don't get a big drop in RPMs when you throw a bird in there. So everything's nice and steady. Whereas this aluminum one that I got has almost no mass. That little one in here. Yeah, it's a 12-inch and it's aluminum, so the small amount of mass makes it so that there's not enough inertia when you throw a bird in there, and it really bogs it down. So this should help that out quite a bit. All I've got left to do right now is put that pulley on there, get the new size belt on, and then drill some mounting holes for the motor, and then a paint job. And we're back in business. Well, that presents a new problem. How the heck am I going to get this giant thing in there? I guess I'm cutting more out of this. Oh, I think it'll go. Yes. Ow. Bugger. So there's a couple of things to keep in mind when you're setting these, when you're setting this thing. Where this shaft sits, I made this flush, so I know that is going to have to sit back flush, so that one's easy. The other one, though, I need to actually look inside this back pillow block bearing here. That bearing, when I bite down on it with these jam bolts, that one sets the actual clamp on, like the preload basically on the feathering plate. And that might not sound important, but if you remember, underneath you've got those 3 fingers that are facing down. Those 3 fingers, they don't want to be pushed too hard, and they don't want to be not touching. So you want to basically set them so that they're just barely touching. That way they don't rub so much, and they get enough contact to make sure you're sweeping all those feathers out. So this one back here is important for that regard. All right, so we got the last of this on. We got a coat of paint. We got the belt on and tensioned, and it's nice and tight. I put this tensioner bolt up forward because I figured the majority of the force was going to be seen right here, especially since we're sideways right now. When we tip it up, gravity is going to want to fold that plate even more, but that's pretty darn rock solid. It's not really moving much. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. This is definitely a much better design than what we had before. I had to swap out my wear plate here. I didn't have enough thickness, so I had to add something that was just a little bit thicker. So I ended up finding this scrap piece of aluminum. Already had holes pre-drilled in it, so I just burned it on. So worked out pretty good, and actually that took up the last of the slack that I needed to in the belt. So we're going to go ahead and tip it up and double check that we got our feather plate set in the right position, because you can't really tell with it up like this. And I was being lazy and didn't want to tip it up earlier. So hopefully doing it by braille worked out, and we got it in the right spot. Okay, so let's get the feather plate rotated around. We're about right there. That worked great. Our fingers that we were trying to set by braille worked out perfectly, so no worries there. Now let's get some water plumbed into it and try it out. Seems to be working great. That belt looks nice and tight now. No issues there. This plate's not vibrating around. Motor looks nice and steady. So this is the hole where the feathers would come out, and obviously they just go into this modified bucket that, you know, we've made specific for this, and it makes it real nice because all the feathers fall into this bucket, and there's not a huge mess of feathers on the ground that are difficult to pick up. There's still some that gets through, but for the most part, that bucket catches them, and it works really great. And every once in a while I'll have to empty it. We get a whole lot of birds going, but I bet we could do 20 birds before I got to empty that bucket, which is really nice. Voila.